I know a lot of drivers or potential people getting into the industry, one of the things they love so much is the truck itself, the new trucks, whatever it is. I did see on your website, Shipley's committed to offsetting 50% of operational carbon footprint by 2025. I was curious on the truck side, how's transportation helping with that process?
We actually have 5 of our trucks are CNG, compressed natural gas. They present their own challenges, but it's great to be able to know that we're helping with that, that carbon footprint a little bit. They present some challenges where we have to route them a little different. There's only three areas we can get, or 3 stations we get fuel at in the central Pennsylvania area. One in York that we own and operate, one in Lancaster, and then there's a truck stop in Carlisle where we can get fuel. Yeah. So it really presents some challenges. You got to make sure that we keep the guys within 300 miles or less, or make sure they're in one of those areas that they can get fuel in. But it's great to know that we can help do our job where we're delivering diesel fuel, gasoline, but still be able to help the environment at the same time.
And with the CNG truck, I'm just curious about, is the pre-trip a little bit different? What are they looking for with that kind of a truck?
There's really no difference in pre-trip. You're still checking your fluids. The trailer has its own pre-trip process, but you're still going to do the same thing there. The one difference is you're going to check there's a pressure gauge to show how much CNG you have. And it might not always mesh up 1-to-1 with the fuel gauge. Sure. Because you want to make sure that the pressure gauge is up around 4,000. If not, you may want to top off before you get started. Just to make sure that you're not going to run out of fuel.
And does that add extra weight to the truck as well? Does that limit?
It does actually. Yeah. So it takes down our hauling capacity from about 8,500 gallons, give or take, to 8,200 gallons. And in Maryland, we can only do 8,000 gallons.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a regulation within Pennsylvania that you can get exemption for a CNG truck to haul that extra 200 gallons.
I know EV trucks, same thing. They can go 80,000 up to 82,000 with EV. Battery packs are way heavier than that. But
Right. So that affects our profitability a little bit, not being able to haul those extra 300 gallons. But all in all, they're good trucks.
Very cool. And I'm just curious about the maintenance too. So the tanks themselves, I know just in general, looking at, whether it's residential or if people have tanks during the summertime, they get low, they can fill up with sludge, things like that. What's the maintenance process look like on the trucks at your end?
On the CNG trucks?
CNG or just the tankers themselves?
We don't run into a lot of issue on that end at all, honestly. Not that I remember.
Well, on the tanks themselves, I'll have to let you talk about the CNG.
Yeah,
because there's nothing different. Yeah, I don't deal with that very much. But with a hazmat tanker, there's a whole litany of inspections that have to be done depending on what the build of that trailer is and what it's designed to carry. Right. Those are called HM183 inspections. And we have to keep track of those and make sure they're done. If it's not done in the set amount of time that it's required, that vehicle's out of service. Right. And there are plenty of stopgaps. You could drive it up the road, but if you got to a loading facility, that trailer has to be
paper tested.
But it's going to be registered with that loading facility. Okay. And they're going to have that date, and they're going, oh nope, that's past date. You can't load that trailer. Right. And that would be a hassle for us, but. These are expensive inspections. I mean, there's a visual, which is easy, but there's an internal test, and that requires 3 people, and they're going to get inside and not just look at the inside of the tanker, but actually X-ray welds, do some things like that. It's a big thing. There's a leakage test and a pressure test. Yeah. If the tanker has a liner, which some chemical tankers have a liner, they've got to inspect that. They inspect the upper coupler, which is what connects, houses the kingpin. They got to pull that down, inspect it, X-ray it. It takes a significant amount of class time to get certified as an HM183 inspector, and then 2 full years, so 2,080 hours per year, so 4,160 hours, I guess, of working full time on hazmat tankers only. Wow. To be certified to sign off on one of those inspections. So we don't, consequently, in most companies, don't have an internal person that does that. Right. That's a risk that we deflect and hire a specialist for. So we'll get those inspections done elsewhere, but they've got to be done, and it makes you keep those trailers up. And you can run them for, if you do that, you can run that equipment for eons. In my past, I had a propane trailer that was built in the early 1950s. It was still the 2010s, and we were running it.
I was going to ask, is there a lifetime for those trailers?
If it passes the
we've got quite a few that I think are from the 90s.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple asphalt trailers. Well, not a couple. I think there's only one at this point. That was a 74. Yeah. And it's still passed inspection. It still runs well.
And asphalt's technically non-haz, so the inspections don't necessarily apply. It depends on the type of asphalt, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if you take care of your equipment, you can run it for quite a while, and then the engineering doesn't change that much. It has a little. I mean, I'm bore you with the engineering stuff that's changed, but they look the same. Right. Like if you keep it clean and polished and nice, nobody's going to know that truck or trailer was built in '98 unless they get over there and look at the spec plate. Yeah. I mean, it just looks nice running down the road. All right, let's go.